covering the islands of the Bahamas. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, 6 people were shot, 2 of them fatally, when a gunman opened fire on 2 of his neighbors, killing 1 of them and injuring 3 police officers before turning the gun on himself. Police were initially called to the scene of a single shooting at an apartment on Cox Way off East Street South, but no one could anticipate the horror which would follow. Our Vaughn Aubrey visited the scene today and talked with a neighbor who walked right into the line of fire.
It was around 12:30 Friday morning when 33-year-old Casey Adderley parked her green 4-door car outside her apartment at number 41 Cox Way and made her way to her home she shares with her 16-year-old and 13-year-old sons. But before she could get to her door, according to police, her neighbor, a 22-year-old, fired a shotgun from inside his front room window. She fell to the ground.
She was killed before all of that. It didn't happen.
What were you told?
They tell me it happened a little earlier before I come home. So they had 6 shots going off. The next brother gone and checked, see what going on. He meet the woman laying on.
Adderley was an employee of Colombian Emeralds, Paradise Island. But the shooting rampage continued as the shooter who lived with his mother and brother then went to the rear kitchen window and allegedly shot at his 25-year-old neighbor as he was exiting his car.
And I was coming out to look, I see the fire the same time, and he just started shooting more. And they try to run out, and Doc, I see he try to shoot me too, and he catch me in my back.
The 22-year-old continued to shoot from windows inside his home. His next target, police.
When they reach, he just opened fire on them. 1 or 2 of them get hit. And then it was just from there.
But tell me something, he was still shooting from the inside of his kitchen?
He never come outside, never came outside. Stayed inside and just shoot straight through.
The 25-year-old man and the 3 police reportedly received pellet wounds, were treated and discharged. But what triggered the sequence of events by the man the injured neighbor described as extremely quiet, but who had a similar incident before?
Nobody even know that he is still living there. He thought that he moved out. Because he had an incident right there before with him. Thought that he moved.
So what was that incident? Did that involve a gun?
Yeah, same thing.
Which is?
Someone was playing with his sister and he must see shoot a couple of shots at the car and the person get away.
But Friday's drama ended when the 22-year-old man reportedly put the gun to his head and took his life. I'm Vaughn Aubrey, ZNS News.
Police are searching for 2 men they believe are responsible for the heist of an armored car around 6:30 yesterday evening. The vehicle was stolen from a local fast food eatery in the Hoffers Plaza, West Bay Street, Cable Beach. Officer in charge of the Western Division, Superintendent Lehman Delaveau, spoke with our news team shortly after the robbery.
CS security officers were at the Burger King located here at Cable Beach when 2 masked men in a gold-colored car entered at the bus, the ICS bus. They ordered one of the persons who was inside at the time out of the vehicle, took the ICS vehicle and left. The police was called in and the vehicle was later recovered, and there's our understanding that a substantial amount of cash was stolen at the time.
Now, police are appealing to anyone who was in the area of yesterday's robbery and may be able to provide information to contact police. Police also investigating the discovery of 2 bodies near the Seabreeze Canal. There are little details other than that one body was found around 10:30 in the morning and the other just after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. An investigation continues. Parliamentary Secretary Renwood Wells says the high levels of crime have stunted the growth of the economy. Today, the Member of Parliament discussed the impact with us, and he walked through a community that requires extensive social and law enforcement intervention. Our Shanique Miller has the story.
It's a vicious cycle, one that's commanded the government's attention and resources. As the crime wave deepens, so too have the monies allocated to eradicate it.
If a country needs to hire more police officers, hire more paramedics, buy more cars, put up more judges, build more buildings, all of these things look like the economy is actually growing. But in actual fact, if you're taking those monies and investing them in your society in a way to lower the level of crime, that money is not going to what I would call productive work. Energies that is productive, which is investing in people, investing in their education, okay, in investing in how we grow a community, because those monies are now going to simply hold back the tide of the wave that is crime. What ends up happening is it seems like the economy is growing.
For the year, statistics show there are 74 murders on record. This after a record-breaking 2011 with 127, far outpacing 2010. Parliamentary Secretary with responsibility for urban renewal, Renwood Wells, says the solution isn't simple or cheap.
When you look at the quality of life issue, it is not. And our taxes are actually going to support things that we in ourselves is not helping us to grow as a society. So that's how crime really affects us on a local level.
Urban renewal, with its $15 million budget, is a clear example of what Wells is talking about. But it's a necessary investment that the government has embarked on to bring a permanent solution to the blight of urban areas that are socially and criminally challenged. Take Seven Hills, for example. Police describe it as a community plagued with multiple crimes.
Small gatherings, and with the gatherings that we see here, we know there's a lot of unsavory, activities that go on. There's a selling of narcotics that can actually stem out of those things. And we spoke about, with the overgrown properties and vehicles, about the place. It's an avenue for persons to hide whatever contrabands that they need to within that community.
A part of the urban renewal program is to demolish abandoned buildings like this one. Oftentimes, young men use them to carry out mischievous behavior. And that is what officials want to get a handle on.
Well, we have a lot of derelict vehicles, the overgrown lots, some abandoned buildings that we're looking to look at and see how best we can, eradicate some of the criminal activities that's happening in the area.
Inspector Virgil Sentis and Wells, who is Member of Parliament for the area, have done extensive walkabouts of Seven Hills. Both are very familiar with the issues that affect the community. But Mr. Wells is optimistic Seven Hills can be redeemed. Of the newly launched Urban Renewal Commission, Wells says the aim socially is to turn a new page.
Mandate of it is really to try and help to bring back that old boundary stone in a sense, to build the kind of holistic communities where we can rear children in an environment that is conducive and productive, whereby they're going to become the kinds of citizens that will build this nation.
Shanique Miller, ZNS News.
Immigration officials have already had to dip into the department's repatriation budget to transport persistent migrants. Right now, about 130 of them are awaiting repatriation at the detention center. Just this week, there were major illegal immigrant arrests in New Providence, Abaco, and Exuma. Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister Fred Mitchell says funding for the repatriation exercises is adequate.
I was looking at the figures over the last 10 years. We've not actually spent more than, I think 1 year was a bit high, but it's generally between $1 and $1.25 million. So $1 million generally adequate, and certainly if there's any emergency which requires funding, we have the ability to get more to do so.
Young men who have committed non-violent crimes may soon get a second chance to become productive members of society, courtesy of a pending initiative targeting non-violent offenders. Well-known American television judge Joe Brown paid a courtesy call on the Attorney General today, recommending the sentencing initiative as a way to curb crime. Fern Carey has details.
The innovative sentencing initiative targets young men with nonviolent criminal records and has been proven successful by well-known American TV judge Joe Brown. He told the Attorney General and a legal team that the program has reportedly reaped great results in his jurisdiction. According to Judge Brown, the program not only helps to reduce crime, but also empowers young men to engage in a cycle of prosperity. He's confident the program would work well in the Bahamas.
I'd let
burglary victims armed with a court order accompanied by my bailiffs visit to perps, and they'd get to seize personal property up to the value or a little beyond or a lot beyond what they had taken from them. But that was the tip of the iceberg. I gave them reading assignments. They had to give reports. If they couldn't read, I made them watch certain movies and come back and report. I did stuff that was uncomfortable for them, but it gave them an incentive to do something about becoming real men.
Meantime, Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson believes the sentencing initiative could become a reality in the Bahamas following consultation with Cabinet and to members of the public.
Young men in particular, because we have so many of them, do have a concern where there's been a non-violent offender. How do we actually deal with them? Do we really, really want to put those offenders into prison? And can't we find a much more creative way to make sure that they are punished? But do they need to be incarcerated? In fact, do they even need to have a criminal record? And do we actually give people a second chance? Of course, for Minister Gomez and I, this rang beautifully in our ears because you know that our Prime Minister is a firm believer in giving people a second chance. So yes, this is something. He has hinted that we have, and I have said that we have raised with him the possibility of a consultancy.
Judge Brown, who called the Bahamas the hope for the hemisphere, has offered his consulting services for free. Farron Carey, ZNS News.
Now, before visiting the Attorney General, Judge Brown paid a courtesy call on the Governor General, His Excellency Sir Arthur Foulkes, at Government House. Judge Brown is the first black prosecutor in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, during his visit, Sir Arthur talked about the close ties which exist between the Bahamas and the U.S. Judge Brown also pointed to the importance of leaving behind a legacy for young people.
Think about this. Why is somebody going to remember you when you're gone? So leave some kind of monument to yourself which has to do with making it better for other people. See, that's leadership. That's what it's all about.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, the FNM's announcement for a North Abaco nominee put on hold. The story is after the break.